What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and this is the Librarians Season 3, Episode 7, and the Curse of Cindy. And once again, the show hits another one right out of the park. Two back-to-back, in my opinion, really good episodes. And I'm just not used to that from the Librarians. I'm used to, like, 2 or 3 really good episodes throughout the entire season, and then the others are just kind of fun and enjoyable and laughable, and not anything special, but they're still not bad. But these are two really good ones back to back. And in the middle of the season, no less. It's so interesting to see just how good this season's become. And so, going into it, I was kind of thinking, okay, maybe this one isn't going to be as good as I was expecting. With everything that happened in the last episode, with all of Dosa, with Flynn coming back to the team, all of this stuff going on, I was wondering, is it going to just sort of drop off till the final episode, or is it going to progress from here and actually get better? And so when it starts and you see, it's about this girl who is loved by everybody, it's a love potion, and you're just like, okay, well, that sounds kind of interesting. I wonder if they're going to do anything interesting with it. And as it starts to go on, it just gets better. It's funny at first, and then all of a sudden you actually start getting into the nitty-gritty about it and start learning more about what is actually going on. And it ends with kind of with a bang. And I'm just like, holy crap, this was an awesome episode. So let's talk about all the good stuff about it. First of all, one of the funniest scenes, I think, in all of the 3 seasons is whenever Flynn and Stone come back after being enthralled by Cindy. And so they're both just talking, obviously they gag their mouths so they can stop talking about her. And so Jenkins comes back with what he thinks is the first antidote. And so he squirts it on him, and then he takes the gags off. It's just like, alright, I think you guys are back to normal. And then Flynn looks over at Stone. He's like, you have the most enthralling eyes. And Stone's just, you're a very attractive man. If it were any other characters on the show, it would not be nearly as funny. Flynn and Stone. It was just so funny. I could not stop laughing. Still can't stop laughing. So, one of the funniest moments, in my opinion, of the first 3 seasons. But then, of course, the story behind Cindy, the story of why she is doing what she's doing, is really kind of emotional. Because it's not the first time we've seen something like this. I mean, honestly, you could take her story and pretty much give it to anybody who's putting themselves out on the internet for this particular reason. Obviously, my reason for putting out YouTube is because I just want to get my feelings out there. I want to talk about it because nobody else I know watches the shows that I watch. So this has nothing to do with me, has nothing to do with my image. I mean, hell, look at how I look right now. I don't care. So, but there are people, though, that will put pictures on Instagram, put videos on YouTube of them just trying to get attention. And that's all it is. And so, hearing this story, I'm like, yeah, this totally makes sense. And what's really sad about it is that you could see it's not really her idea. She loves this. She loves feeling the attention. She loves all these people just obsessing over her. But it's not even really her. It's this, who we find out is a woman possessed by Apeth later. And I'm going to talk about that because that, in my opinion, really changed this entire episode. But it's all based off of that idea, and she just kind of like, yeah, I went through this terrible, horrible hurt on this show. I want to not feel that again. I want to feel loved. And so it's like she knows that it's not right deep down, but she's experienced such terrible hurt that she doesn't even care. And honestly, watching the video of the TV show, it was kind of a parody of, like, some of these real life TV shows where, some people are mean, like Survivor. Some people act like that, but most of the time it's not. Like seeing the guy go, yeah, and slow high five and knuckle touch, and they're laughing at her, she's crying. I'm like, okay, this is a little too much, but you can kind of get the idea of it. You can understand where they're going with it. You can understand her feelings behind it. And seeing Ezekiel talk to her just really, in my opinion, changed his character a bit for me. Because honestly, one of my biggest complaints about the show is that Ezekiel is one character that I think has his funny moments. You know, he has these moments where you're just like, okay, he's funny, he's a thief, so he's good at breaking into places that they need to get into. But in my opinion, his character hasn't really done much. You know, his character hasn't changed. We had that one episode last season where they're in the video game and you saw him go through a character change. You saw him become more mature, and then all of a sudden at the end of the episode, they cut it off, and all of a sudden, oh, he doesn't remember any of that, so he hasn't changed at all. Well, in this one, we actually get a little bit of a glimpse into why he is how he is. And of course, at first we think, oh, he's not affected by the love potion because, oh, he's so into himself and that's all it is. And, you know, at first I thought that's where they were going to go with it. But then we see him talking to her. We see him explaining, I grew up dirt poor and I decided this world that took so much from me, I was going to take something back. And we actually get to understand kind of where he came from. And on top of that, we see not only that, but the reason the love potion didn't work was because he saw that show. He saw Cindy on the show, and he actually kind of did develop feelings for her, and that's why the love potion didn't work. I'm like, that's genius. That is brilliantly written. And that's not what I expect from the show. I don't expect the show to do really clever writing like that. I expect it to be goofy and silly, and the fact that this season has turned so emotional, it's really getting to me. And honestly, it did kind of tug at the heartstrings a little to see her experiencing the hurt on that show. Because I don't really know exactly how that feels, but I kind of do. You know, I was a loser in high school. I experienced rejection. I experienced people making fun of me before. I know that. And so to see her dealing with that and to see the fact that she just wants to be loved, it really did work for this episode. They made it work. The acting worked. The writing worked. It was a really good episode for this. And I think the way Ezekiel really showed her what this all led to, you know, breaking the potion, turning the love into obsession, I think that was a good little way for Ezekiel to say this is what it becomes. And it was very effective, you know, seeing the people turn into raving lunatics because of how this potion affects them. And ultimately that does change her mind. She's like, okay, I realize I'm wrong now. I'm sorry for all of that. So all of this said and done, you know, they finally get to the missile, and I kind of figured this is what was going to happen because she tries to tell everybody, hey, stop, don't launch the missile, but the woman, Agnes, I think was her name, she comes out and she's just like, well, everybody loves me now, so they're not going to listen to you, and starts cackling, and so then that's pretty much exactly what I was expecting. I expected her to step in, but the whole time I was watching this, you know, whenever I found out that this old lady was actually the one behind it all, the one that was trying, you know, she seemed like she didn't really want to be there. Like, Cindy kept ordering her, hey, we need more of that, we need more of the potion. I thought that maybe she was the one behind it, but then all of a sudden, whenever she locks Baird and Cassandra in the fridge, I was like, okay, so this old lady is actually the one behind it. And so I kept wondering, are we going to find out her reasoning? You know, what's her reasoning for wanting to help Cindy with all of this? What's her reasoning for wanting to launch this missile? Like, what is the cause? And so after they finally stop her, they finally, you know, have everybody get obsessed over her and wrap her up and start trying to pull her apart. And they shut down the missile. Jenkins shows up just in time. Probably one of the best Jenkins moments because the door's open to the barn that this missile is held in, and he's just standing there with like one of the little bug sprayers or weed sprayers. He's just standing there like an action hero, like, I'm ready to go. It was so corny but really funny. And he just comes in, sprays everybody with the antidote, and Agnes falls into his arms and catches her, and Bear's just like, wait, how does she know I was a guardian? And that's when Apep comes out of her body. I'm like, holy crap, this whole time it was Apep. It all makes sense now. And the fact that in this episode, which seemed the entire time to just be, you know, while it was emotional, while it was good, it seemed to be kind of filler for the moment with everything else going on, all of a sudden turns into an episode that just makes sense in the grand scheme of things. Because what has this whole season been about? Apep trying to spread chaos. What would this missile do? Why shoot off the missile? Why make everybody love Cindy? Because this obsession over one person would create chaos. And Jenkins even says as much later on. I'm just like, this is brilliant. This whole episode seemingly at first was just another simple filler Librarians episode, turns into a really smart, well-written, clever episode that ties into the rest of the season. It was brilliant. I loved it. It was awesome. And so at the end, we have a little bit of a wrap-up for everybody. We have Ezekiel and Cindy talking to each other, and, you know, they're kind of adorable. So probably she will return, I think, I hope. I feel like Ezekiel needs somebody in his life, so the fact that they kind of are hitting it off, and we find out later from Stone, that the reason it didn't work was probably because he had feelings for her, and the fact that she, after his little speech to her, kind of has feelings for him. I'm not one to say, oh, in a show about magic and the library and all of this evil stuff going on, I'm not one for starting relationships. I'm not one for focusing on relationships. You would know as much if you watched some of my other reviews of shows. But I feel like this could work. I feel like this might be a necessary step, especially for Ezekiel's character, to have somebody to turn to. Because he hasn't for a while. He's been kind of the loner of the group. Like, even amidst the group, you can see he's the troublemaker. He's the one always trying to distance himself by cracking jokes. Earlier in the episode, we see Flynn talking to him, and he's pretending not to understand, and Cassandra even calls him out on it. Like, you know what that is. And he does that on purpose because he doesn't want to get too close to people. He wants to distance himself. He's been a loner for so long, it's what he's used to. So I think this could probably help his character a little bit and develop him a bit more. So I like that. We see they're taking the potion or whatever. I guess it's going to be the new artifact, maybe, or maybe it's going to be a new potion section of the new wing. That would be interesting. And then, of course, the big shocker at the end of all of it is we see Apep coming back into a room, and he's going back into a sarcophagus, which as soon as I saw the setup, I was like, I know where this is going. It's surrounded by a laser grid, and it pans around, and Dosa is on the wall. So there are a few theories based off of this. One, they have the sarcophagus but don't realize that Apep is using it, and that they're kind of housing Apep and keeping the sarcophagus from the library, which would actually help. Two, Apep has possibly infected the lady that's in charge of Dosa, which means she is unknowingly a servant of him and causing chaos by trying to fight the library, by not letting the library help out. Or three, they knowingly are helping Apep and they knowingly want to stop the library. I don't know why that would be, because they seem like they're trying to stop magic and Apep wants the opposite of that, so I don't know if that makes a whole lot of sense. But at the same time, it could be like a twist that, oh, they pretend like they're trying to stop magic when in reality they're followers of Apep and they want to spread the magic and create chaos. But either way, it's an interesting little twist. We now know where the sarcophagus is. I figured the librarians will figure it out eventually. But I like where this is going. I mean, a lot of good stuff. Dosa was in this episode. They were, in fact, some of the people that were affected by Cindy. So that's where she got the missile from. But they weren't really the main bad guy in this one like they have been. They were in the last episode, I think. But there wasn't really much of a bad guy in the last one, but if there was, it was Dosa. So I'll be curious to see if they're going to take a bigger role in the next few episodes, just because we're getting so close to the end. We've got 3 episodes left. There has to be a moment where it's Dosa versus the library. We have to find out, is Dosa really the bad guys, or are they just misunderstanding and doing this all out of ignorance? So I figure we'll figure that out soon enough, but it's a really good season. This episode really shocked me with how good it is, just based on what I saw at the beginning, what I saw in the previews. I'm really looking forward to next week, so let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What did you like and dislike about this episode? Let me know. We can talk about and discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Librarians reviews. I'll see you at the next one. Peace out.